What's going on, guys? You're back here with the Open Opinion Podcast, and I'm Bill.
I'm Damon.
Today, man,
Yeah,
we're going to talk about something a little juicy.
something a little juicy.
One thing I feel like society lacks on is controlling their emotions, man.
Yeah, especially I'm seeing a lot of, the children to Gen Z, especially, fellow Gen Zers.
Gen Z.
I feel like there's a lot of emotional stability because, the state of your emotions is dependent on almost like the relevancy of who you are,
100%.
If you aren't relevant with your friends or with, the people that you don't even know on social media, your,
Or just
emotional
half these
stability, kind of weakens, and it kind of teeters a bit to where you need to find someone to gain praise from or, validation.
Why do you feel like that is, though?
I think it's because of like social media's growth, honestly, because there's been so much, we're the first generation to grow up with an iPhone in our hands, and
Boy.
that's kind of like, as soon as when you're going through those pubescent stages and have these idols that shouldn't be idolized,
Yeah,
you want to idolize yourself too.
100%.
And if you don't feel that you're relevant or that people respect you in that way, then you feel a lot of emotional instability.
And I think that comes from people's lifestyles growing up. I think that comes from a lot of the Gen Z generation. Not saying it's just Gen Z, but a lot of the Gen Z generation growing up without role models in their life.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a big factor. And
like real role models, because the role models that we've had are like just celebrities.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like somebody to actually give you something to see on a daily basis that is doing something positive.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of kids and even a lot of adults nowadays, we're not kids no more, but that don't have somebody to look up to and say, okay, they did this right, it worked for them, I can do that and be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So they sit here and look for it in the wrong places, which lead to a lot of disappointment, which leads into anxiety, depression, which leads into making kids and people's feelings feel very invalid.
Yeah, and I feel like we aren't having those role models that promote the stability, emotional stability, the self-reliant stability.
Yeah.
We're having a whole lot of other things in completely different areas being promoted, like, how good you can make yourself look and how active you are in your friend circle. Those things are being promoted. And even from a lot of parents from millennials, I haven't seen a whole bunch of parents from millennials teaching that, self-reliant stability,
Mm-hmm.
rather than a lot of the millennial parents that I'm seeing are more so kind of pushing off their responsibility as parenthood to mentor and kind of just like, go do whatever.
Which
I don't really care.
You saying that, it shows me that what I was thinking is fairly true. They push that parenthood on to mentors and whatever, but that alone starts the emotional instability.
Yeah.
Like if you have somebody who expects you to be there for them and for them to be able to come to you when stuff's wrong, and you can't be there, you're already starting them off on the wrong path.
Yeah.
You're already showing them that, okay, I have nobody. I don't have somebody I can go to when something's wrong.
Yeah.
I don't have somebody I can talk to when I'm upset or even when I'm happy. When I have something to celebrate about or I have something to talk about, I don't have that person.
Yeah, regardless of, having a person who teaches you how to be happy by yourself.
Exactly.
And not need to lean on someone. You kind of come out of the womb leaning a little bit,
Literally. Literally.
Like you need someone to show you that validation and happiness and, to give you everything that you have. And when you don't have some of those things and aren't given some of those things, or even shown that you can have those things, you know, you aren't taught that skill, you kind of just don't think of it as something that you should habitualize and, you know, create within yourself. You just kind of think that it's a natural thing to be emotionally unstable.
And I think that's one thing society today and age has definitely done to itself. They have definitely normalized emotional instability. Mm-hmm. They've definitely normalized.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's a good thing now.
Exactly, and it's, to me, it's not.
It's okay to say it's not a good thing, because
well,
I mean, to us it's not, but I mean, I think any person who has the emotional stability to be okay on their own and is mm-hmm. self-reliant can, you know, say that it's a good thing. And, you know, from a place, I mean, I've been in that spot where my happiness relied on someone else and my friends. And
100%.
I feel like almost all people have been in that spot. And it's the people that have never come out of that spot that see it as a good thing that you should cherish. But for those that, you know, take it upon themselves to grow stronger and grow more stable, even though they have to go through the rough patches of being on their own and finding the happiness within themselves,
100%,
that say it was worth it on the other side. The grass is greener.
Yeah. And what I will say is, like, I will say, in my opinion, I will say what society has done with emotional stability and anxiety and depression and the way they've normalized it, to me, it's not okay. But I will say it's okay to not be okay. Mm-hmm. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be hurt and feel the way you feel. Your feelings should always feel valid. Yeah. But, well, I won't say but. Yeah. However, I will say there's too many negative effects when it comes to emotional instability.
Yeah, and I also kind of like, I don't really agree with that completely. I think people of today's age are afraid to be offended and therefore feel like you should not be offended. But I think being offended is a huge step in learning how to do better.
100%.
I don't think your feelings should always be valid or feel valid if they're not in a valid space. You know, you should be able to...
I agree with that, 100%.
You should be able to take the criticism of, you know, you're not doing this thing right, and not be like, well, you don't know me. You know, you should be able to take that and say, and consider it in yourself, rather than, you know, people who have that emotional stability aren't, you know, always standing strong with their chest out and I'm the best of the best and no one can stop me. It's more so being able to take the criticism that guides you into being the best you can possibly be and not being offended by it.
100%. You got to be able to be coachable. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to...
Yeah, coachable is definitely huge in being, you know, emotionally stable.
Yeah, for sure. If you can take something that is wrong and put it into your life and say, okay, this is wrong, I can learn from this, and not only learn from it with that lesson, but learn from it and use that lesson with other aspects of your life, you can't lose. Yeah. You can't go wrong with that. You can always use one lesson and use it to your advantage to prosper in life, to use it to build your character, to build yourself up, to get yourself back on that right path. Don't sit here and just because somebody says something to you or somebody tells you this is wrong, that's wrong, don't take that as them trying to belittle you. Like, and that's what I feel like society does a lot.
That's a huge negative effect on like the flip side of people who are emotionally unstable.
For sure.
No, they aren't coachable at all.
Yep.
And I mean, not even from the side of like people hear that and think, well, if someone tries to coach me, I won't take it. There's also the side of not being coachable where you see someone doing something differently than you.
Yep.
And they might be doing it more efficiently than you, and you get irritated by it. You know, you think that the way you're doing whatever you're doing is the best way.
Yeah.
And if anyone does it slightly different, it's automatically wrong.
And I don't get that. Yeah. I don't see...
It's that side from you feel like you need to be valid.
You
know? And that comes from that emotional stability. You know, people... I feel like it's a huge mass growing and Jordan Peterson calls an idiocracy of people that haven't really taken in consideration the flip side of their mental health and to being emotionally stable. And so therefore they feel like they are entitled to everyone dancing around their emotional instabilities.
And no, it shouldn't be that way. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to walk around shells.
Yeah.
I'm not going to walk on shells around you just because you are very sensitive. Now, I will take it in consideration. I'm not going to sit here and be an a-hole about it, because we all have issues, bro.
Yeah.
We all have times where emotions are very, very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And to me, that's okay. But it's how you handle it, and it's how you go about it.
And the grow from it.
Exactly. That really, really pushes and shows that you're either growing or you're staying in place.
I think as a very important virtue that I try and hold myself towards is to never making the same mistake twice. And that's not, on the side of criticizing myself to the point where I avoid whatever situation I made a mistake in so that I never go over that lump again.
Yeah.
It's that I try and internalize the lesson that I took from that mistake and use it to think more effectively in that scenario. Whereas 100%. Like people with unstable emotions might run over that mistake and avoid thinking about it, avoid talking about it, just treat it as, a blur and, their timeline.
For sure.
Whereas, they never grow from it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that, doubles one after the another, they stack on top of each other to where, you never really grow mentally. You never stabilize mentally.
And that can be a very big thing that hinders not just yourself but the people around you. I feel like if you have put yourself through something because of a decision you've made and you don't learn from that, you're not only stopping yourself, but you're stopping the people you're around. You're stopping your environment.
Yeah.
Because truly, to me, you are a product of your environment.
Yeah.
You are who you hang around with. You are taking pieces of everybody, of everything that you consume. If you can't take the good and the bad in the same way and use them to your advantage, where are you really going in life? What are you really doing? What are you going to take from the things that life puts you through?
And not taking advantage of the opportunity of such, variety of life.
Facts.
All these different experiences that you go through, you only want to internalize the good things.
Exactly.
And, I feel like that's had a huge effect on why there's such a huge population of people that feel like they should never be offended, is because they're only taking those good experiences, and those good experiences are their friends who feel the same way telling them that they're right.
Yep.
Rather than, and when they only take those, they completely throw away all the experiences of the people saying, that's not right.
Exactly.
They aren't even considering that.
Yeah. And to me, I feel like you genuinely gain more out of being wrong than you do being right.
For sure.
There's not a lot of people I can say feel that way. I know you do. I can genuinely say that I feel like you personally gain a lot from your wrongs than your rights.
Yeah.
Because your mental's more, what's the word for it? It's more in depth. You're more in depth with yourself. You're more in depth with your emotions. And
I mean, the reason that is because I've had so many extremely hard times in my life.
100%.
Rather than blacking them out of my mind,
you deal with them face front.
And I completely, internalize them and take them as lessons.
Exactly.
A huge part of the reason my mental state is where it is and my emotional state is where it is because I've taken every single event throughout my life as a lesson and truly meditate on what that lesson is and how I can use it to better my experience in the future.
100%.
I feel like that's something that we should take as a tool for our mental states. That's how people who haven't had that mentor to teach them how to be mentally stable on their own into, learning how to be mentally stable and learning how to be the best person you can. You take all those negative experiences, all the criticisms, all the failures, all the mistakes, and truly meditate on what lesson that brings to you.
100%. And when it comes to emotional stability, I look at it as I wouldn't even say either. It is a lesson and a reward.
Yeah.
Because for one, you learn something,
Mm-hmm.
and the reward is you're learning something that is not only in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you'll carry the rest of your life. There's things that I've been through, bro, that's like the blind eye wouldn't see and wouldn't realize because the smile that I put on my face.
Yeah.
There's days that I wake up and I'm like,
yeah.
Like it's just not it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can take those days and put forth the better days,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like that's one way you can truly create
Mm-hmm.
emotional stability.
Yeah, and for those with low emotional stability, you aren't getting that reward or the experience of gaining a lesson from your mistakes. Rather than the person who takes that mistakes, they grow stronger and they grow happier being stronger. Down the road they won't make that mistake again, and they will turn that mistake into opportunity for success. Whereas the person with no or little emotional stability will dismiss the experience as a flaw.
Yep.
And will continue to either run over that mistake or will completely avoid this opportunity in life they could have taken advantage of if
Exactly.
they had the mental strength to go through it, even though it's hard.
100%. And my thing is, if you either can take these lessons and this emotional instability and use it as a purpose in life, or you can use it as a burden.
Mm-hmm.
It's your choice. If you're going to use it as a burden, you can't expect to sit here and get any better. You can't expect your emotions to improve or your daily activities to improve or your feelings to ever change. You're going to be hurt. You're going to be stuck, and you will see it in the long run.
Go ahead. If you truly care about your mental strength and mental stability, you should learn to take advantage of the mistakes in your life and learn to consider how you can make a better person of yourself every single day. Being 1% better doesn't mean, I'll do one more push-up today, or, I'll clean my room a little better than I did yesterday. That 1% better means understanding where you stumbled, understanding where you made the mistakes, understanding where you flawed, and considering how you could have done it better. And then, therefore, the next day you will be that 1% better.
100%. One step at a time, guys. Take your time.
I believe in you.
We love you guys. Elzos.